Hey, what's up, guys? So, you might have heard of defaults on your receivables, right? But you don't know how to account for it. Okay, this reel is for you. So, basically, if you have got a receivable, and for every receivable out there, for every advance out there which you have given, you are supposed to, apply IFRS 9, and even the expected credit loss calculation should be there. But whether it is 12 months or whether it is lifetime expected, it really depends. So initially expected 12 months cash flows, time factor is not significant, so maybe we might not discount. It really depends. But at the same time, if the credit impairability increases, that means high likeliness of default, you will simply go and record this lifetime expected credit losses, and you're just going to get estimates. You're going to use industry standards or however it's going to be. You might even need an expert for it, for the calculation and all that, so that it's as accurate as possible. And at the same time, there's also interest revenue that you record on your receivables. Just like loan interest calculation, there's receivable interest calculation. So you're just simply going to usually, if there's no credit impairability, you are not going to subtract the credit losses at all. In 12 months case, 12 months expected cash flows, credit losses, you're just simply going to record it on the gross amount. However, if there is credit impairability expectations, loss of default is quite high, the probability, then we'll simply subtract our expected credit losses from the receivables and then find out the interest out of it. So this was the difference between each of these, and of course you're going to adjust all of this in the P&L. It's nothing to do with the OCI, and since it's relevant to this year, and yeah, that's all about it, guys. So please do like and share if you found this useful. Okay, bye.